What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Mark Show. It's time for another review and discussion, episode 6 of the ESPN documentary Last Dance. With talk about, of course, Michael Jordan as well as Chicago Bulls. So I'm back here with my boy Anthony. And so, Anthony, describe this episode 6 in one word for me.
Media.
Yeah. Yes. Please elaborate your thoughts on that portion of it, because the media, man.
It showed how the media would build somebody up. I think they even said it, build somebody up and tear somebody down because all the good stuff Jordan did, everything that he did versus, okay, he's so golden. He's such a good guy. He's too good. So here's a book about him. Here's what's the one guy, Michael and Me, and the different things plus Sam Smith, the Jordan book or Jordan Rules.
The Jordan Rules.
Yeah, and you start seeing all the kinks of what they're trying to do and everything, and it's just it shows like the dirtiness in media.
Yeah,
that's the way I like, because at that time Jordan was. I mean, they joked about him whenever he says, "Man, I need a ticket." He's like, "Oh, one for me and God." He goes, "Well, you just got a ticket from God." He's like, "Oh no, hold on."
So that was hilarious. Yes. Oh, poor Randy Brown. Oh man, that was the media. The one word I describe it, I'll probably say chaos, because the entire episode was just chaotic in so many levels. Like it was like, and like you said, to this day we actually do that. Not just media, but fans of teams that we hate. Like the best teams that win. We want you to lose finally. We're tired of you winning.
Yep.
And then the teams that's down in their luck, we want you to win. Like, man, like this, like Cleveland Browns, your luck gotta get good at some point. Come on, like it has to be good at some point. And we do as fans, media, everyone does. Like hell, the Patriots, I hate to see them win. I hated that. I just couldn't stand it. I can't stand it. Like be on downfall at some point. You have to be that guy that goes down. So
well, and that's what will be interesting this year, because you're talking about the Patriots and you're seeing kind of history repeat itself in a way, because Brady left just like that 99 season when Jordan left and Phil left and everybody else, and like that team was horrible, and that's what everybody in the media wanted.
Yeah.
They, and it was chaos is a perfect word for it. I will say the one thing in the episode that, was not chaotic but made me like, man, I want to try that, was that coin game that they were playing where they're hitting off the wall or trying to get it closest to the wall. I was like, dude, I could see playing that game and having a blast with it.
It was funny because actually on Twitter someone posted a picture of the security guard doing this, and it says, "This is the only man that ever taken Michael Jordan's money." And you think, and you see that guy, like, pretty much yes, he took his $20.
Well, and think about it too, like even on the plane ride where they were talking about Jordan and Ron Harper and all them gambling in the back of the plane, big money.
Yeah.
And then Paxson, B.J. Armstrong, Will Perdue, or all of them were playing for $1. And he's like, "Oh, I just want to come over here and say that I took your money."
That's bad. Like, yes, that shows. Yeah, he has a problem. You say it's not gambling, but that's kind of underneath the gambling problem. But
well, is that a gambling or ego problem?
A little of both. I can see that. I can see a little ego. Yeah.
Because think about it, he don't need the money. Like, in the other part of this episode, when it comes to media, that they touched on that I thought was really kind of, again, how chaotic the media is the fact that he made a comment joking about Republicans, buy sneakers too,
Mm-hmm.
and how they turn that.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, and then it was like, oh, it started into like, well, that Republican's a white Republican, Democrat or person was a black Democrat, and
Mhm.
you know, you should be standing up like Muhammad Ali. You should be, you know, putting things on him, you know, from a media standpoint,
Yes.
yeah,
And
and a fan and everything else.
yeah, because so that's one thing I do remember in the early part of that. Like Jordan was never, when it comes to being an activist and he or just anything politics, anything that's not doing basketball, he was quiet. He did not say anything. Like, dude, I care about this. Other crap, I don't give a damn about that. I don't care. I care about my one role as a basketball player, kind of deal. I remember like because he was what was it? Even for like other political stuff or things dealing with social injustice, he wouldn't come out and say anything
Yep.
because that's not my job. Behind closed doors, yeah, but to the public, to the media, because like you said, he has a persona to hold up. He really does, and he's not trying to be this guy saying, "Hey, I stand for this." We know he does, but he won't publicly say it because that's not him. And it's not until what recently he started talking about social injustice and doing things volunteer work and well he's talking but like more openly and saying hey to give back due to these reasons and kind of deal and so you know
Well, and that's the thing. It's like he never went out and talked about all the charity stuff he did, but I like how they brought it up in the episode about how he would always do the Make a Wish stuff and you know talk to the kids and stop and if
mhm,
you see a terminally ill kid, he always did certain things for that, but he didn't portray it out a lot the way that some you see some people now use it as a political arm in a way.
yeah yeah and like I said from the chaos point of it from the media like you said last episode the hotel room was his only place to get away. Like he was bombarded by from the point he left that door or the hotel room, he was bombarded by fans, other people, celebrities. It was just like, dude, I want to just relax, have a cigar and everything.
Well, and that's the thing too is how they, you know, him saying Republicans buy shoes too. They twisted that into he's all about money, and then they turned that into well, Muhammad Ali gave up millions for his, you know, what he believed in and activist, you know, being an activist and all that,
Mm-hmm.
and it's almost like he was looked down. The media looked down on him because he was supposed to do that same thing. You
Yeah,
know, it's like you know, it's the right thing to do, so to say. And he's like, dude, I'm just a basketball player, you
yeah.
know, and he
He
looked at it more as a
he
competition.
yes, and he mentioned himself like, hey, if you don't like the way I do things, don't follow me. Just like I'm not a role model. Charles Barkley said it best. Like, dude, I'm not a role model. And he finally said too, like, dude, if you doing things I'm doing now, just don't. It's not. I'm not for you. I'm not. Don't worry about me. Then, I'm. This is me, kind of deal. So,
Yeah, he laid it out perfectly. He said, look, if what I do motivates you, great, good.
mhm.
If what I do you don't like, cool. You don't have to follow me. Like,
Yes,
you know, you're making that choice to follow me. You know,
exactly.
you're making that choice. And I love that message because it's true. Like, end of the day, if they have that much invested in you where they hate you that much, that's on them,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and,
But
and the best he could do, like he did it, just go solid. And so, and what Phil Jackson said that game three, uh, against the Knicks, yeah, he did all his talking on the court, and
yeah,
he destroyed the Knicks game three. Like, yeah,
I like too how he's like towards the end of it they talked about it with the Mod Rashad where he's like, yeah, let's get this interview out of the way, let's get it done, you know.
what glasses
And
on? What shades
yeah,
on? I'm like, like even Mama Shaw's like, dude, come on, you could have took the glasses off. Come on, that was funny.
that was a that was the thing too. Is like watching this is like Ahmad Rashad. You talk about activists and talk about things like that. Like, dude, changed his name.
Yeah,
you know. And now, and think about it, he made his name in football.
Mm-hmm.
But to a generation like for me, all I think about is that's the host from NBA Inside Stuff.
Pretty much, yes.
Like,
I remember that
I,
show.
yeah, but he was the host. He was the guy. And then like the interviews, he was the one that always did the interviews with Jordan or you know, the basketball players.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until later on that I realized like, oh, that dude played football and he played under a different name.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, dude, I had no clue. I forget the name, his first name. And then that was the other thing because he was married to Bill Cosby's wife on the Cosby Show.
Yeah. Felicia Rashad. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, I don't remember his first name either, but I remember he played football. But like I said, that wasn't until later on he changed his name and started doing what we know him as a actual host or commentator, analyst, or what we want to call him, kind of deal. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, and just so with the whole gambling thing, do you think any of that gambling back then was maybe part of his dad's death? Any portion of it, you think?
I I don't know. I think about that and I, what always struck me, hopefully in the episodes coming up when they talk about his dad's death,
Mm-hmm.
it's better explained. How is the greatest figure in basketball, one of the most popular person in the world, how is his dad driving by himself and pulls over on the side of the road to sleep?
Yeah.
Like, think about it. Jordan had enough money to have a driver. You know, at that time, he could have had anybody driving his dad, and I could see his dad being old school, saying, "No, I got it." And I
Mm-hmm.
could even see his dad saying, "Okay, I'm gonna stop at a rest stop and I'm gonna pass out and sleep and do that." But it just, I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me. And then like the people who killed them, you know, it was two kids,
Yeah.
and it was like it just, I don't know, it doesn't add up for me. Like in a way, I kind of think it could have been something like that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's all speculation at this point. So it would just be, you know,
Yeah. It's a lot
what
for
it is.
exactly. It's so much behind that, and with him testifying on that guy's for that guy Slim, whatever his name is, kind of deal, and such, saying,
Yeah.
"Hey, no, I just owe the money." What did he say about that? Was it a check or owe the money or a loan or something?
No, he said it was a loan, and then he said, "I just did that because I was embarrassed, and it was I was gambling debt."
Yeah, and
But you
then
know, it was talking about him gambling golf, and like, you know, he said like, "No, I never bet on games." And again, you go back to the media. They tried to get that one guy that did the Michael and Me that he said he owed him or he gambled millions away. That did he ever bet on game? It's like, no, it was just golf, and like you could see them trying to get something twisted,
mm-hmm.
you know. And
Yeah,
again, that's a media chaos that we talked about earlier. That it's just, it's, I don't know, it's so bad to see it. And you see it unraveling right there. It's like, what's true, you know? And media now is even worse, I think. But
yeah, it was pretty bad because with that book and stuff like like dude, like I bet a lot of money on myself at golf, a lot of money. Like who was that? David,
David Stern,
not David Stern. It was the used to be for ESPN. Now I think he does NBA TV. The black guy, Davis something. He said that to Michael Jordan, $10,000 to him is like $10 to us.
yeah, I thought that was David. I thought that was a commissioner. It may have been Adam Silver. It was one of the commissioners
No,
because
no,
I think.
it was the black guy named David. I can't think of his last name. He used to be on ESPN as an NBA analyst, but
Uh,
now he's on NBA TV, I think.
I have to, I'm sure I'll rewatch it. I can't wait for it to end because then I want to just watch it all like straight back to back to back.
Yeah, I know one thing. Like, cause I was talking to, oh my God, to Jason last episode. they need to have a soundtrack. They need to take like
Oh,
the music from every episode. They need to go ahead and release a soundtrack at the end of this. Because I will buy it.
dude,
I will buy the heartbeat. Because it's so good. The music is so good.
but is that because you're from the era? Because do they even do soundtracks anymore?
Well, on Pi, yeah, they still do like like more scores and soundtrack, but not like actual. You just got to buy online.
Well, but what I'm saying is like, because I agree. The soundtrack of this is great, and I love all the music. But it reminds me of being back in the day, whenever like movies come out, and like
Yeah,
you would get the soundtrack, and you would hear like different artists, and be like,
yeah.
dude, like I remember Tupac with what was it? I think it was Bad Boys. I know one of the shows where it was Me Against the World. Yeah, it was
Oh,
Bad Boys.
okay, yeah. And
That was
tonight they had Night by Nature.
yeah,
That was sick. That was sick. And then of course we have Prince playing Party. Was it Party something from the Batman soundtrack?
yep.
Oh, dude, just the music is just like the music is pinpoint perfect. But every little montage they're doing, it's like so perfect. It's insane. I love it.
That's the thing I think with this is like it. I don't know. It brings me back so much that I'm just like, hmm, it, it, it was so much fun being a kid or being a young adult watching all
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
and like seeing it to where I look at basketball now and I'm like it's not the same. But
Yeah.
I look at the same. I look at that with rap. I look at that with country. I look at that with everything, and that just shows like I'm getting old
Yeah.
because
That
I look at that. Like the '92, the previous episode just now, that took me back. I was like, I felt like a kid watching that. It's
nice.
like,
And see, I remember like I remember the whole with them play. I remember them playing the Phoenix Suns very vividly. I remember that like really vividly because Barkley was a beast. That team, that Phoenix Suns team, was amazing. People don't realize, especially the younger generation, that team with Thunder Dan Marley and Kevin Johnson and Charles Barkley, was Raymond Tisdale on that team. That team was sick.
I'll tell you the name that popped up that I was like, I forgot all about him, but I remember in that series and leading up to that, the dude who was balling out was Richard Dumas.
Oh yeah.
Dumas was balling out until the finals.
Hmm.
Like he was the one that was like making that push for the third star, even though Dan Marley was really because it was Marley, Barkley, you had Danny Ainge on that team,
Yeah.
you had Kevin Johnson on that team. Like you're right, it was a really good Phoenix team,
Yeah.
and Barkley had won the MVP and like the fact that Barkley could say at that point in the game, I knew he's just way better than I am. I'm like, Barkley, how are you just realizing that now in '93? This dude's been killing it for years. Like,
Hmm. Yeah.
dude,
I guess when he went, I guess seeing him play, I guess in that series, like just up close for those games, you're like, damn, like this dude's way better than like Ian Barker said himself. I had a great game, but this cat, like, like, damn, like, come on, it's insane. Like what Jordan could do, like my best day could be somebody else's. Just like, oh, it's just crazy. It really
so
is.
it goes back to the reference of like Jordan gambles $10,000 like you do $10.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, like Jordan's bad day would be like my greatest day. Like,
Yes.
and it's not fair. And then when you hear like Hall of Fame, like the upper echelon of the who's who in basketball say, there's no way I could even compete at that level. Like Jordan's just so much better than us. Like that says something.
Yeah. And then
That
once and then once again, Jerry Krause talking about oh, I'm looking at Dan Marley like, oh, as the best defender, oh, like, oh, here we go, like, oh my god, like, come on,
But again, I'm telling you, like, if Kraus isn't doing that, does it push Jordan to that next level?
no, no,
Because think about it, like right there, he's like, "Oh, that's your guy." Like it's the same thing as what Kraus was saying with Tony Kukoc.
yeah,
It's the same thing as what Kraus was doing whenever he let Doug Collins go and he brought in Phil Jackson.
mm-hmm.
Like that's the part that if you're watching every episode, the more and more you see like there had to be a bad guy to push them.
Yeah, yeah,
Because and Kraus took that right on the kisser
yeah,
because he would keep doing that. And he just took it to the point where the sad part is he didn't realize he was doing it.
yeah,
You know, he was trying to fit in when really, like, if he understood his role, he knew, like, oh, I'm going to keep doing this, but we're going to keep winning. We're going to keep, we could go on forever doing this. And he was more worried about his ego of saying, like, I'm part of this team. I'm like, everybody. I remember for a long time growing up thinking Jerry Krause, Jerry Reinsdorf, like, God, like those guys are so lucky. Watching this, I'm thinking, like, there's no way he was lucky, other than getting the job and drafting, having the guy that, is the greatest basketball player of all time, and then getting lucky with some of his moves.
yeah,
The, the fact that he's a baseball scout and he constructed possibly some of the greatest teams in NBA history, like, it's amazing.
yeah. And remember what he said during, I guess that was the third win, the third three-peat, where he's like, as we're gonna go down as the best, the great organization ever, from this guy time as an organization. Like you could tell, like he wants to put it as that, like dude, technically you are an organization, but it's the players that's winning you these games.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that his ego drove him.
Yeah.
Like, that in all those comments are ego driven.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you want to look at a great executive, you look at Jerry West. Jerry West he's the symbol for the NBA.
Yeah.
He was on those championship teams, and then look at all the teams he constructed. But he
Mm-hmm.
did it in the right way. Imagine if you had a Jerry West with those Bulls teams,
Yeah.
you could have seen somebody do 10 straight, championships.
It's possible. It's
Because he knew
possible.
how to push people's buttons and how to get the best out of them without doing it in a negative way or, like, doing it in this ego-driven way that Jerry Krause was doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. Like I said, the more I watch it, the more I just think, like, that was the rod that they needed to go against somebody, the man, so to say.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. He was the symbol of, like you said, the man. That he was that guy. That's the face they put as the man. So yeah, that was.
and see, if Krause was smart, he'd have been saying that every year. It's like, you know what, man, Sean Kemp, like he did it with the Sean Kemp trade with
Yeah.
Pippen, right? Sean Kemp was the best player in the Seahawks or Supersonics. If I was Krause, Dan Marley, I'd have been looking and saying, who's the next one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's somebody we need to get over here. And pick those people to make them driven. Like, if he was smart doing it the right way,
Yeah.
he could have kept that going forever.
Yeah.
But
His ego got in the way badly, badly, and it was kind of funny when Jordan's like, "Oh, Jerry, you can have a cigar. It's gonna stunt your growth." Oh, oh, they get that man hell. Like they get that man hell. So,
I
oh,
know it's funny too because Jerry Reinsdorf was in earlier episodes.
mm-hmm.
Dude, you own the team. Like, at the end of the day, his ego was in check too because he was using Krause in the way of he didn't want to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
I mean, because now watching this, it's obvious. Like at any point, he could have went and said, like, "Man, hey, let me get this for you, Kraus. Like, you're
Mhm.
taking too much heat."
Yeah.
But
Did you see? I don't know if you saw it tonight. The top players Jordan went up against in '93, the playoffs. Did you see that? Did you see that? Who he was? So in round one, he played against Dominique in '93. Round two, he went against Brad Daugherty and Mark Price. Of course, in the conference finals, he went up against Patrick Ewing, and of course in the finals, he went up against the league MVP. And they said that that was the first time he has ever gone against in the playoffs. Um, was it one, two, three, five of the top 10 players of the NBA that year, scoring wise. So yes, first round Dominique. Second round was Brad Daugherty and Mark Price. Third round was Ewing, and last championship game was Barkley.
so, and think about everybody you just named was a great player, right?
Yes,
How many rings did any of them have?
none,
Not one.
none.
That's like when you look at that time period and you look at all the great players that played during that time. Stockton, Malone, Barkley, Ewing, Reggie Miller. Um, those Cav teams early on. Um, the Supersonics with Gary Payton and Sean Kemp, the Trailblazers. Like the only reason Clyde Drexler got a ring was because he went to Houston.
Yeah,
The only reason Houston got a ring was because Jordan retired.
pretty much yes. And
You
it's
know,
and I mentioned to I don't know if you saw my other episodes. I just feel bad for Patrick Ewing because that man was always on the other end of Jordan winning a championship, or at least getting to that point from college to early on to now the '90s. Like, dude, I think he's like 0-5 against Jordan in some kind of either championship or playoff run. 0-5, like, dude, you just have no luck against this man. You have none. It's a,
I mean, I think he it was so bad for him that he ended up getting hired as an assistant coach on Jordan's team in Charlotte.
yeah,
But then Jordan would even give him a head coach job.
yeah, I
Like,
remember that.
think about you put him through so much.
Yes, he did. He put Ewan through the ringer. But yeah, but that Phoenix team that was that team was sick. That team was sick for sure.
So so what would have happened? Because Jordan was drafted in '84.
Hmm.
Jordan left the junior year, right?
Yes.
What would have happened? Who would have drafted Jordan if he would have stayed at North Carolina one more year, and been in the '85 draft?
So I actually had a conversation with Jason about that because I think the Bulls still was still in the top 3 or 4 picks that following you as well. So it's a possibility
No, because they made the playoffs, didn't they?
in '84. No, you said '84, '85.
Yeah. His rookie year, didn't they make the playoffs?
Damn, did they? Hell, if I remember.
I, I mean, at that point, if he wouldn't have playing, they probably would have been in the top. But the one in '85, the number one pick
Mm-hmm.
was Patrick Ewing to the
Okay.
Knicks.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
So think about it. He would have stayed. Jordan would have been a Knick.
Yeah. Actually, Jordan could have been a Knick a couple of times.
Well, yeah, he could have went to there after I think it was '98.
Yeah, or the start of '98.
Yeah.
The start of '98 because because it was before he signed that contract for like 36 million for that last year. Like he was ready to sign with the Knicks, but something happened to cause him to come back. But he was ready to go.
Well,
I
that was
think,
because they signed Phil to that 1 year deal
yeah,
because they weren't going to sign Phil, and that's when he went into Jerry Reinsdorf's house with all
And
them, and they signed,
Reinsdorf
and
signed
then
him. Yeah, Reinsdorf
yeah,
signed him. Yeah, that wasn't Krause at all.
right. But Reinsdorf. But if it wasn't for that, Jordan would have left.
Yes.
So and
Yeah.
that's why they were saying like Jordan would have went to the Knicks, because the rumor was is if you didn't re-sign Phil, which at that point Krause was saying he wasn't going to, then Jordan was going to demand to go to the Knicks, or
Yeah.
there was something under the table or something that was going on to where he was going to be a Knick. But you look about it, 85, he would have been a Knick.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And there was something else I was wondering. That was because I don't know if we're gonna bring this up about the. I think they probably passed this point, or who knows? It may get to it because they're doing a lot of going back and forth.
Yeah.
A lot of time jumping is happening right now. I wonder if they're gonna still talk about like like possible trades, like you said with Sean Kemp and Scottie Pippen,
Crazy.
or even the Tracy McGrady possible trade for Scottie Pippen, because Jordan stopped both of them. So I wanted.
Well,
You go ahead.
Jordan said it right away at one of the first episodes. It's like there's one person with all 6 championships. You can't say Michael Jordan without Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter who they were going to trade. Like there's no way they were going to trade Scottie.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing about hearing that in the story, is because Pippen was, Pippen was the second greatest player to the greatest player. McGrady would have been great, but I don't think McGrady would have done what Pippen did.
Oh yeah, I don't think. I don't think he wasn't. He probably even wasn't ready either for that. Well, especially with that team and everything happened behind closed doors. He would have been like in shell shock, just like what the hell did I come in? What did I just come into?
Well, and it's the same thing. Like you think about it, that happened when Horace Grant left.
Yes.
Because when Horace Grant left, it was like, dude, that was the number 3. That was the third big wheel in there. Like you're talking about the big 3 before, with how LeBron and all them do the big 3. That was the big 3 back then, because you had Pippen, Jordan, and Grant. And when they brought Rodman in, that was like that. How the hell is that going to work?
And it worked out perfectly.
Rodman?
Yeah.
Right, but like, because you watched the episodes with the Pistons, Rodman was one of the main instigators.
Yeah.
He was the one, and the fact that they looked at it, this is where, if you look at this same episode with the whole media thing, where Jordan's smartness always came out, because it's like, nah, he knows basketball. It's cool. It's good. And talked about Rodman being one of the smartest players. And doing that, like, yeah, he's off his rockers on stuff, but end of the day, again, Phil Jackson being there, he's like, oh, okay, like, I see it, it'll work. He filled that Horace Grant role perfect.
Yes.
Because he did all the dirty work. The only difference I think between him and Horace Grant is Horace Grant had that lunch pail mentality of doing the dirty work, but not really wanting to.
Yeah.
Rodman loved it.
Yes. To his core, he loved it.
Yeah. He embraced that more than he, like I think on one of the episodes he talked about, I was more famous than Michael Jordan at one point. Like, and it had nothing to do with basketball.
Yeah.
You date Madonna and doing all this other.
He was probably the NBA's first rock star.
Yep.
Like literally a rock star. It was Dennis Rodman.
I mean, think about it. How do you say you come out of your shell after dating Madonna?
All right. Yeah.
Like, think it. Because he was a shy, kind of innocent boy. He dates Madonna. He comes out with blonde hair and, a dress.
She did something to him in that time. She did something.
Well, and that's the other thing. Come on. He had the opportunity. She wanted to have kids with him.
Yeah.
And he has kids with other girls that, like, dude, you had Madonna, Carmen Electra.
Yeah.
Like, it was very, very interesting to see how all that worked.
Yeah.
Like I said, I hope there's an episode where it talks about Rodman, Grant, Bill Winnington, Will Perdue, B.J. Armstrong,
Mm-hmm.
like Steve Kerr, Paxson, like all those role players, Randy Brown, Trent Tucker.
Yeah.
You, you, another one is, you know how they say the next Jordan?
Mm-hmm.
You know who was one of the ones that was supposed to be like Jordan?
Who?
Ron Harper.
Oh, yeah, 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 yes, yes.
Ron Harper was supposed to be that Jordan like when he was in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And they talked about that in that series. Like, Ron Harper was the one he should have been guarding Jordan
Yes.
because he had everything. He had a knee injury that got him out of Cleveland, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what took him to Chicago. And you think about it, like, Ron Harper, like, was a superstar,
Mm-hmm.
and then he became one of the best role players in those Jordan teams.
Yes. And he showed it. He loves some Ron Harper. Hey fool, let's get the golf court. Just sit on my lap. Let's go. Let's come on, come on. That's
Right?
one. That's another thing too. His tea time. You're not gonna mess with his tea time. You are not from. You are not. Yo, we gotta go. We have to go. Like no, it's 3:30 tea time. But that was funny. He blew the horn at the media. Like, dude, we gotta go. That was hilarious.
Well, you look at the episode where, I don't know if you watched the documentaries on the Dream Team, like on the previous episode, but they talked about, like, who was it? Maybe it's Krzyzewski. He's like, I don't know when Jordan slept
Uh,
because Jordan would be, the game, then playing poker, doing whatever. And next thing you know, he's playing golf all day. They're back in his room.
mhm.
Like, that fool doesn't never sleep. But you look at, like, the greats, so to say, and I said in the previous episode, greatness was my word.
Yeah.
You look at Jordan and you look at people like Kevin Hart and The Rock and all these people that, when do they sleep?
Yeah.
Like, how
That,
do you do that?
yeah.
Jordan going to a game was smoking a cigar.
Right. Hell, 36 holes of golf day before a playoff game. Come on, like really? I don't play golf. I know that's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot.
That's a lot.
Like, that's two full rounds of walking. And I'm sure they weren't walking, but just swinging and doing all that. Like, I don't see how they did it. And not getting 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah. So for him, like I said, motivation. Any way he found it, and
I,
he found it every way possible. Motivation.
I think it was in this episode where they talked about, like, after the game, like, they were drinking a beer.
Oh yeah, he's like that's what Pippen said. Man, the fourth quarter, there's only one thing we're thinking about: drinking a beer. George like, I don't want no Gatorade. It's not Gatorade time. I need a cold beer. And what's
Well,
crazy? Is I like before he went out to talk to the media, he had I guess maybe one or two beers. This guy didn't notice he was drinking, or not even that. When did Jordan have his own in the locker room, his own office in the locker room? What the hell is what? That's
dude, his own office, his own security.
what
Like, you got players on the team asking him for tickets.
exactly. That fool. We said, "Hey, security, come get security." Like what?
Dude,
Like what is this?
think about it. Like, you make it to the NBA and you're a starter, because Randy Brown was a starter at one point.
Yeah.
He was one of the point guards, and you're asking a teammate, "Can you give me some tickets?"
Oh, and did you see what they kind of mentioned a little bit? It's like the media coverage he gets is pretty much on the level of the Pope and Jesus. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much.
Well, and I do like that part we were talking about with Pippen, Jordan, and Ron Harper drinking the beer and talking about, all we cared about was the beer. And, it's funny listening to it because Ron Harper's like, I don't care. It's like, record all you want. Doesn't matter to me. Pippen's like, no, man, don't be recording. Don't do it. It's like, no, man, keep doing this. And like, Ron Harper's kind of messing with it. This is why you can tell Jordan liked Ron Harper because he said doing all that. And then Jordan goes into, he does two things that was very kind of, aha for me.
Mhm.
One, he's like, yeah, I should be drinking Gatorade, but he has that Miller Lite. He's drinking that. And then he talks about, I just lost my train of thought. He talks about, the Miller Lite, drinking it. And then, he talked about the players
Cigarette.
10 years ago.
Oh
No,
yeah,
the players 10 years ago would have cases in there.
yeah.
He's like, they were drinking at halftime. He's
Oh
like ratting out the old school.
yeah. Or what did Jordan say in the beginning documentary? Was it the cocaine traveling circus?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's talking about all the teammates.
Yeah. Yeah. And we say, man, have a cigarette. You could ask the coach for a cigarette back then. Like, yeah, yeah, them boys are stressed out. Like, man, it is what it is. I'm making some good money. I'm gonna have me a cigarette and a beer at halftime, whatever.
Dude, could you imagine running full court and having a cigarette at halftime?
I
I
can.
don't know how you do that.
Yeah, I can. Or at least having a beer.
Right. Like, think about it. If Jordan at any point did that, or anybody else,
Yeah.
anybody else on those teams, like, you're talking about, in this episode, they talked about, Jordan, did you ever, like, shave points and, like, kind of go there trying to get him into all that?
Hmm.
Think about how many players are drunk and they miss shots because they had beers at halftime. Like, I would, especially now, you look at it, like, every athlete is so fine tuned where they're eating the right things, drinking the right, stuff, and vitamins and all the different things, eating healthy and vegan and all the different stuff. And you look at that time and they're like smoking and drinking at halftime. Like, I would love to know who it was and like who had their best game drunk and like, an episode on that.
Oh, that's that's some straight bad news bears type of situation going on right now. Being dug out just drinking. It is what it is. Let's go. Let's play games. Have me a beer. Bring me a beer. Let's go. So
Yeah, you could tell the goody goodies versus the ones that would do that on the team too, because you could see Paxton, Kerr, and BJ Armstrong, and they weren't doing any of that. But I'll guarantee you, Ron Harper was.
oh yeah, those three. So man, but once again, another good episode. Definitely great music once again for this one here. So, who boy. So, other than that, this is probably going to be toward the end of the video, guys. Once again, Anthony, let's give everyone your socials to hit you up on the social media.
It's must be the GOAT. MustBeTheGoat.
That's simple, people. That's simple. And of course, for us, the Mark Show here on YouTube as well as Instagram. So that's it, guys, for today's video. If you got this video, give us a thumbs up and see the screen right now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video with people. And that's it. So next week, we got pretty much 4 more episodes to go. So it's almost over fast. Wow, this is going by pretty fast. Pretty fast.
I hope they make a sequel.
Oh, right. What, next Sunday? Mother's Day. That's next Sunday.
I'm hoping they do the same thing, but just on the Dream Team.
Yeah. Talk about that more. That'd be awesome. So who knows what I'm gonna talk about? Who knows what he's gonna bring up? I have no idea. So I'm excited for it. Well, guys, that's it for this video. So, where's my baby Zoe? We'll see you next time. Peace.